Hey friends, welcome back to Mustard Seed Homesteading, and if you're new to this channel, my name is Megan and I'm so glad that you're here today because this is my monthly Greenstalk garden tour and harvest. I love to share these vertical planters with as many people as possible because of how much you can grow within 2 square foot of space. And today what we're going to do is take a look at all of the green stalks we're going to harvest, and I want to share my plans for the fall with you guys. Plus, you guys, I did it again and I got 2 more colors and I cannot wait to share with you all. So what we're going to do is we are going to start in the backyard garden, as you can see behind me, because I want to make sure that I'm showing you all of the green stalks, not just in my driveway, but the ones that are in the backyard. So we're going to start with this yellow one. All right, friends, so this yellow green stalk, I kind of had a mix of a bunch of stuff in here. I do still have a lot of basil. Look at that red rhubarb, it is so pretty. I actually should harvest some of this with you guys because I haven't harvested a ton of red rhubarb this summer. It didn't do as well as last year, and I think some of the spots that I grew them in just didn't get enough sun, and these were planted much later. But starting from the top, we do have a lot of Tulsi holy basil, and then in between you can see there are some spots though that of things that just didn't germinate. I think this was actually, yeah, this was nasturtiums. For some reason, sometimes you guys, nasturtiums are kind of hard for me to germinate. They're just hard for me. I don't know why, but they are. And so some things didn't germinate, and that's fine, because when I go down to the driveway, you're going to see a new setup that I have for seed starts, and I have a ton that need a home, so I have no problem filling these little spots. But what we do have in here right now is a lot of basil. I did try jicama. So jicama is, I'm going to try to put a picture of it on the screen right now, because it is a wonderful hands-off, in my personal experience and opinion, it's a hands-off type of a plant, and it's pretty much like a summer root vegetable is the way I look at it, because it grows underneath. Now, I don't know how well these are going to do because I did start these really late. They're heat-loving plants, almost like sweet potatoes. So I'm not sure how they're going to do in here. I might have, like I said, if they were started too late and they're really tiny when I do harvest these, because these need to stay in here for a couple more weeks, then I'll just try them next year. So we do have a lot of jicama, and then we have a lot of Tulsi holy basil, and then the same down here. I did start some kale, but they're kind of starting off slow here. But again, I do have a lot of starts down below in my seed starting trays, so I'm not really concerned. There is some kale growing here though. I am more than likely with this green stalk, I'll probably have a mix of things growing in here. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing this fall, but I do know, because we still have at least a month to a month and a half of warm weather, that I want to keep the basil in here, and I also want to keep the green beans in here. So that's another thing that I have been growing in this green stalk. And my personal experience, and you'll see when we go on the driveway, you guys, all of those green beans that I started in the green stalks in my driveway, they are full of green beans. I cannot wait to show them to you later on in the video. And I have been picking, so it doesn't really look like there's much, and that's okay, because I want to make sure that this keeps producing, and the best way to do that is to keep harvesting them. Look at this yellow one. This one is so pretty. I actually harvested quite a bit off of this, and you can see there's more flower buds right there. I think they do really good. Now, here's a great example of using those bamboo sticks. I like to use these for green beans and kind of smaller plants, because I do have Greenstalk new trellises, and they've been really good, but this is a great alternative to have for, you know, smaller plants. And something I do want to quickly point out, so what I did with my Tulsi holy basil and a lot of the green stalk, and just overall with some of my basil in the garden, because we had a really hot summer, some of the leaves got really yellow and just burnt, and so I just chopped a lot of the tops off so that the new shoots could start to grow healthier leaves, so that I can still harvest more Tulsi holy basil. Oh, I can't help you guys. I already started lettuce and snap peas, and I cannot wait to get some fresh lettuce out of the garden. Here is the green 3-tier original green stalk. I love having this right here, right by the stairs by my back door. It has been so nice. This also just has a variety of things growing, and I do have it on a spinner base. Love my spinner bases, you guys. But I have a lot of Tulsi holy basil. Here's a great example of what I was just saying. You can see there's a lot of new green growth here because this also got pretty yellow and I had to cut a lot of it off. So I do have a lot of Tulsi holy basil in here, but throughout this green stalk, I did plant a lot of green beans, and I think I also did jicama as well. So here's another green bean right here. I did start this Nevada lettuce, which is a heat tolerant lettuce, but you can see that it just didn't do well, and the soil is moist, so it's not that it's dried out. It's just, this is the problem with our growing zone, because I'm in 8B, and it's a hit or miss because we still have hot days, but then the temperatures in the evenings are getting cooler. So it's kind of tough to sit here and start putting out cool weather type of veggies, and it's going to be a hit or miss. Now, I think we do actually have some green beans we can harvest, not a lot because I have been harvesting back here. So I think we actually just have one. And then this one doesn't look like it's doing much, so we're going to take that one off actually and get rid of it. But I do like the green beans in the green stalk. They do very well. I do have a jicama down here as well, and like I said, we'll just see how that goes. I think next year though, for sure, I might even dedicate an entire green stalk to jicama and see how they do, just because garlic, potatoes, and sweet potatoes do so well in the green stalk. So I'm not really sure. And as far as this one is concerned for the fall, I'm probably, knowing me, once my starts are needing a home, and I'll show them to you, like I said, down below at the in the driveway, I will just start ripping things out that I may not necessarily need, because I do have a lot of Tulsi holy basil. So I might end up just tossing those and putting in some new ones. I'm not 100% sure, because when it's time to start planting things and I need a home and this is not doing anything for me, I will just start ripping things out and start planting everywhere. By the way, I don't normally do this in my green stalks. They were just on the floor right here, and they kept getting eaten up by bugs, and so I kind of just put that in there, and I figured, well, you know what, whatever water drips out of there, it'll just go in here and feed the rest of the planter. It hasn't caused any issues, so I'm keeping it there for right now, but I just wanted to show that and explain to you why I put them in here. And with that being said, I'm going to actually harvest some chives, and then we're going to go down to the driveway. All right, so there's a lot going on my driveway with all my green stalks, but before I go through all of that, I do want to show you my seed start setup that I have outside. So here's my little setup for outside, you guys, and I'm very, very, very happy that I bought this. I should have bought this a long time ago, but basically when I started a lot of my fall starts in the garage, because we were still hitting some really hot temperatures, a lot of my stuff just didn't do well. And so I ended up getting this because I wanted to be able to take it outside and put it in the shade, because the outdoors was actually starting to get a lot cooler than it was in my garage. And because I had the freeze dryer going, the AC going at the same time, and all the lights, the power just kept going out. And so this is what we came up with. The reason I did not put it where I usually do, I usually will line up my seedling trays right here, because this is such a great spot against my garage, was that we were having a lot of bunny issues. So a lot of the bunnies were coming to the bottom tiers and just eating up the green beans. You can see there's some right there. I can't wait to harvest with you all. And so I couldn't put them on the ground, and that's why we came up with this idea. I have seen this before. Other people have used this in their garden videos. I'm like, oh, that's such a great idea. I just never did it, but now I know that I need it, especially for fall starts, because the garage gets so hot. But I just wanted to quickly show this to you and just explain to you what I am doing with all this. And so what I am going to be doing with all of this is start putting them throughout the backyard garden, but also in some of the green stalks. I'm not really sure exactly which ones I'm going to put in where, because I have a lot of cauliflower, broccoli, cabbages, I have lettuce, I have a whole bunch of kale. I do have to water this because it's wilting. It needs some water. I didn't water today. I do have some Swiss chard right here. So I do have a lot of plants. I just don't know where I'm going to be putting them. Now, I did start some green beans up here because of the insect pressure and everything. They weren't getting a good start. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start some in the trays, and they've actually been working really well. I also did a whole other tray of snap peas, and I also did a whole other tray of lettuce. Here we go. It needed some sun. You can see it's already starting to germinate. So I can't wait to get those out. And I'm just overall very excited for the fall garden, especially the plans that I have for the green stalks. Now this first one, you guys, definitely I have been meaning to pull this apart because there's just a lot of dead leaves, tomato plants that need to be completely ripped out. Now, here's where I kind of struggle. I struggle with the fact that sometimes tomato plants, they'll struggle throughout the summer after they produce a little bit, and then you guys, they'll start to grow some new leaves and flowers. You probably can't see it that well up there, but I am going to end up ripping this out. I actually meant to do this before the video. I just have not had the time. But you guys, I am so excited to tell you that the red cayenne is starting to produce a whole bunch of peppers. So we are going to harvest those. And I was actually just looking down here and I noticed that the basil, the dwarf basil, is ready to be harvested again. I know we harvested this last time, but there are no other, oh, you guys, look at, I just saw this on here. Look at how dead this tomato plant looks. And look at this cute little tomato. I didn't even know this was here. So we're gonna harvest this together. See what I mean? Like there's two tomatoes right here. So, and then there's, look at that, there's flowers right here. So sometimes it makes it hard to figure out what I'm going to do. Now, what I may do is rip the majority of this out and maybe keep 1 or 2 tomato plants in here and just let them maybe produce some more tomatoes while taking some of the starts over here and filling in some spots. Not 100% sure, but that's probably more than likely what I'm going to do. And look at this calendula, isn't that pretty? So sorry for the train, you guys. It's not very far from my house and it can be very loud. Look at that one, isn't that pretty? And I know there's also seed here too. For instance, the calendula seed. So right here, you can see, I love to let these things or these flowers dry out so that I can collect seed from them because that's free seed. And then sometimes I'll just let them fall in there so that they can reseed and I can get volunteer plants just like the Tulsi Holy Basil. And you guys, look at how many more peppers there are. That's really cool. I'm probably more than likely going to leave this pepper plant in there because look at how many there are on there. That's a lot. So now I do have another pepper plant that's not doing the best. This one was growing. I was waiting for it to turn red and you can see, let me just take it off. You can see that that is not good. I don't know what happened there, but that's okay. I love to still try to grow things in here and experiment. In this Greenstalk, I think what I am learning from planting so much in one tier, next year what I may do is just put 1 tomato plant or 2 per tier and do the rest with something else. I'm not really sure, but every year I learn something from growing in these green stalks. Now this one I'm excited for, you guys. Look at all the lettuce. The lettuce is doing great. Remember we started seed in there? The lettuce is starting to grow beautifully. I'm gonna let this grow a little bit more. Some I left 2, some I left just 1, just to kind of compare and see how well they're doing. This beautiful snapdragon is doing amazing. I did not start this. This was volunteer because I had them in there last year and they're absolutely beautiful. I think this is like a pink lemonade. I can't remember the name of it, but it just reminds me of pink lemonade. And then you guys, look at all the green beans. I am very, very excited about this. So we're gonna harvest some right now. All right, friends, look at how many green beans so far just from that one green stalk. Now these are still kind of baby green bean plants because I had to replant a few of them and I think I planted this one later than the other ones. Wait till we go to the other ones. There's a lot more green beans. I cannot wait to show those to you. But I did want to quickly show you the kale plant that is growing in here. Hold on, let me put these down. Right there is the kale plant. Look at how beautiful this is growing, you guys. Now I think even though we're getting some, we're still getting hot days because we're getting cooler temperatures at night and this retaining wall back here does help block some of the sun so it's not getting hit all day. I think that's why it's growing so well, and you can see it is not flowering because you can see the middle piece right here is still growing out, which is so good to see. So then that way I know that it's not going to start to flower, because that can happen. It'll just start to stem. The stem will just get real stocky and tall, and it'll just start to flower. But you can see that it's not doing that, and you've got small pieces that are continuing growing out of the middle, which is what you want to see to make sure that it doesn't flower on you. And I have another kale plant as well. It is right there. Hopefully you can see that one right here. Oop, there we go. And that's growing really good too. Now this Greenstalk and this one is kind of my seasonal. And what I mean by seasonal is that whatever season we're in, so we're going into the fall, is what I will use those two planters for, because my other planters are more just for potatoes, onions, garlic, sweet potatoes. But I like to keep these two for planting whatever season I'm in. All right, now I'm going to show you the two tiers that I have my fall potatoes in. All right, here are the Greenstalks of potatoes. You guys, do you remember when there wasn't this much green growth the last tour? I'm so excited to see this. They look really healthy. They look really good. And if you're new to my channel, I have been trying to grow a good amount of potatoes and Greenstalks for couple of years now, and just this last spring, summertime, I just harvested about 20 pounds of potatoes, 19.9 ounces to be exact. And I was thrilled with how much potatoes I had harvested out of these two Greenstalks. So I'm hoping for a really good harvest out of these. I'm also growing potatoes in those bags back there as well, just to compare, because I always love to experiment and compare. But they did so well this last season, so I decided to grow them again. And you guys, look at how beautiful it looks already. And these next two Greenstalks are my strawberry Greenstalks. I love having my strawberries in here. Now, I don't know if I'll get another bulk of strawberries. I'm hoping I will. I'd have to go back and look at the varieties I have in here. I think I forgot what varieties were in here. But, oh, actually, you guys, look at that strawberry. That's really pretty. Okay, we're gonna harvest that one. I wonder if there's more. I haven't really been down here looking at these because I've been so focused on cleaning the backyard garden and just doing other things in the starts that I didn't even take a look. Let me see if there's other strawberries. All right, I do not see any other strawberries. I'm on the other side. I made myself a little path along the retaining wall so that I can walk on the other side of the Greenstalks and not just on this side right here. So, but I don't see any more. Hopefully we'll get a few more, but if we do, we'll harvest them in the other Greenstalk garden tours. I also want to add that I do have mint on the top of some of my tiers. I'm not going to harvest any today, but this is my mojito mint. That is my lemon mint right there. And then over here is my peppermint on the very top. And then I do have spearmint on the top over there as well. I do enjoy having my mints on the top and just giving them their own tier. I also have this perennial tower. Now, this does not need any harvesting. The last tour that I had, I harvested a lot of the stinging nettle, which I ended up freeze drying, like I said. I also harvested a lot of the marshmallow, and then I did share with you guys that I put some of those little baby pepper plants on the bottom tier, because this plant that my mother-in-law gave me, it had so many pepper plants in here that I said, I gotta give them somewhat of a home because there's just so many of them. So because I didn't know what to do in the bottom tier of this perennial, this is my perennial Greenstalk, I just decided to put the plants at the bottom because peppers can be considered perennials, and you guys are doing really good. All right, hopefully you can see all those tiny little peppers. Look at all of those little peppers on there, and all of them at the very bottom are looking like that. You can see all of those little peppers. I'm actually really glad that I put them down here. And you know what? I'm hoping that they will stay like this for next year, like they'll regrow. And hopefully what I'll probably do, let me turn this so that we can harvest some of the peppers over here. What I'll probably do, because this is what happened to the pot over here, is these little peppers, I'll probably let a few of them fall in here so that they can reseed next year. That way I know that these peppers will come back, and this would be perfect to have at the bottom of this perennial tower. Now these next four are some of my favorite Greenstalks because these are the ones that I grew those massive onions in. If you had seen that Greenstalk garden tour. But what I ended up doing, because I had some leftover leeks, some shallots, and I think there might be a few onion starts that I had left over from my summer starts that I had originally. Well, not summer starts, I actually started them in the winter time, but they were left over when I was planting out for the summer and springtime. With that being said, I did put some leeks in here, you guys. Look at how well they're doing. So I thought it would be fun to harvest one of them and just kind of see how they're doing. Some of them still need some time. They're kind of skinny, but here's what I figured. I know that it really was not onion season, leek season for summertime, but I figured, you know what, I'm not using these green stalks for anything because I had so much to do back here that even if I wanted to use this for tomatoes or peppers, I just wouldn't have had the time to take care of them. So I'm like, let me just put them in here and see how they do. And you guys, look at how well they're doing. Look at all of that. Now, I may not get big bulbs or anything, but even if I got a little something, I'll be happy. And then here's another funny thing. A lot of volunteer Tulsi Holy Basil. You're gonna see that throughout my green stalks here. These just grow everywhere. I've never have a problem with growing Tulsi Holy Basil. I might actually harvest some of them because it look how beautiful it looks. It looks really green and very healthy. But let's go ahead and let's harvest. I'll harvest this leek right here. This is the Tadorna. This is actually a new variety. And you can see, look at, I started that February 3rd, you guys. So let's go ahead and see. All right, hold on. You know what? Let me put the camera down. All right, let's go ahead and harvest this. It smells so good, you guys. Let me zoom in so you can see it, because that's the fun part, right? Is being able to see it when it comes out of the soil. Wow. That's beautiful. Woo! Okay. Wow, look at that, you guys. Look at those roots, how healthy that looks. Absolutely beautiful. All right, friends, look at that. I am so excited about this leek, and to think that these almost were goners for me, because like I said, I had started these and they were waiting and waiting and I didn't think much of it, and then all of a sudden, they started looking really healthy, and I'm like, I'm not throwing you away, so I stuck them in the green stalk. I'm just really excited about this. Now, I do think that the rest of them need some more time, but I just wanted to harvest one and just kind of see how it was doing, and I'm really glad that I did. So I'm looking forward to harvesting more of these in the weeks to come. Now, these next four are all of the green beans, and these are also going to be the ones that I plant all my garlic. You guys, I bought a ton of different varieties of garlic, including the elephant garlic. I've been trying to get elephant garlic for, I feel like, the last 2 years, and I finally did get some. Then these last two, so we are gonna harvest some green beans, and then these last two are the sweet potatoes. These will not be harvested until October, but they're doing really good. I've always had some good really good success with sweet potatoes. I'm hoping to get a larger yield of sweet potatoes. I do want to have more than what I've had in the past, but for the most part, I've done pretty good, which is why I planted them again in the green stalk. But you guys, I want to show you, look at all of these green beans, and I'm going to just quickly harvest them, but I want to show you up close. Look at all of the green stalks, and then there's obviously some more that are growing. You can see a bunch of buds, but look at that. I am so excited about these green beans and the green stalks. I think they do exceptionally well. There's a purple burgundy one. This one is really pretty. Look at how pretty that one is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to harvest a whole bunch of these. I just wanted to show you up close all the green beans that are growing. And by the way, if you remember these little craft sticks, you guys, they're doing really good. And so far, I am really liking them in here. So between these and the bamboo sticks, I really do like them in here. But look at all those green beans. Isn't that exciting? Look at that, you guys. Look at all of those buds in there. Oh my gosh, this is doing really, really good. There's only green beans in here, that's it. All of this is all green beans. And you can see I'm on the other side too. So there's a bunch here. I have some purple ones here. I'm trying to think. Let's see, there's a whole bunch right here. And again, the reason I decided to put these in here before the garlic is the fact that green beans can fix nitrogen into the soil. It's not going to mess with anything when I do plant the garlic, so that's why I put them in here. And then this one over here, I actually planted quite a bit of kale. Now I will say, and this is some of the toasty holy basil that I cut back just like I did back there to give it a fresh new start. But I did put a lot of kale in here. I'm not really sure how long that's gonna last because I do need to use this for the garlic. I might end up having to pull those out, I'm not really sure. But either way, I'm very happy with the green beans and the green stalks. I think they do phenomenal in the green stalks. So I'm gonna go ahead and harvest some real quick. All right, friends, before I show you the final harvest of everything that we got from the green stalks, I do want to show you the other two green stalks that I got. All right, friends, I ended up getting the terracotta and I did end up getting the leaf, the 7-tier leaf, and then I did get that purple. Oh my goodness, I think it's the blackberry. It is such a stunning purple and I got this in the 5-tier original. Now, here's what I want to share with you what I plan to do with these. Because the green stalks do so good with onions and garlic, here's what I plan to do. So this one right here, this one does very good with garlic, which is also why I bought I got the blue one a while back. And what I plan to do with both of these, because the 7-tier leaf does very good with garlic, I'm going to be putting that in the backyard garden to see how well they do back there versus the driveway. So as of right now, I have 4 green stalks dedicated to growing garlic, and then I'm gonna dedicate these 2 for garlic in the backyard garden. And then this stunning purple, I specifically got this one for onions because this one does very well. The original 5-tier does so well with onions. So not only do I have 4 dedicated for onions on my driveway, but I also want to try this in the backyard garden as well. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the yellow one onion as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I do plan to use this one for onions. Friends, I am so excited to try them in the backyard garden. So last year, the garlic in my beds in the backyard, they didn't do horrible, but the most success that I've had with my garlic is in the green stalks. And so what I want to do this next season is experiment with them in the green stalks in the backyard versus them being in the driveway, because the way everything is set up, the driveway gets most of the sun, whereas the back does get sun, but it doesn't get as much sun here. So I'm going to experiment to see how the garlic does and the onions do here in the driveway versus in the backyard garden, and I cannot wait to see what happens. Now for the harvest, let's go ahead and see what we got. All right, so it's kind of hard to show you because everything's so deep, but we got the leek, we got some red Reuben. I also grabbed some chives, which wasn't really in the green stalk, but it was on top of the green stalk. And then you guys, we got a little tomato that I didn't even know was there. We got a bunch of red cayenne peppers, which I'm looking forward to harvesting more of these. And we got a cute little strawberry. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't even know it was in there. And then those little red peppers, they're super, super tiny. You probably can't even see it. Let me see if I can put it in front of my face because I'm losing focus right now. Here we go. So you see the little red pepper. So overall, very happy. Let's go ahead and see the green beans. You guys, look at all these green beans. That is exciting. And you know what? There's so many more buds and there's so many little baby ones that haven't even fully grown. So we will be harvesting more within the next couple of weeks and I'm really excited. I think bush green beans do really well in the green stalks, and this is probably something that I will be doing every year. Well, friends, I'm so glad that you came along with me on this Greenstalk garden tour and harvest. And as always, I hope that whatever you've learned or saw in this video encourages you and inspires you to think outside the box and have fun with your garden. I appreciate every single one of you, and I really look forward to seeing you guys next time. And always remember, friends, I want you to be encouraged, stay encouraged, and always stay inspired. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.